Hey, Georgie.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Yes. All right. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you've had a good start to your day. Sorry if there's a little bit of background noise. I guess somebody scheduled the lawnmower at the same time as Pilates, which they should have known not to do. That's all right. So first thing we're gonna do today, it's all gonna be like really hip and kind of quad centric. So first couple things are like a nice opening for the quads and the hips, and then we'll get into a little bit more like stability for the legs, just to get the body set up real nice, and then we'll see where we go from there. So for the first thing, you're gonna come to a kneeling position. Right foot front, left knee down. Now, ideally you want both legs to be at 90 degrees, so that means right knee over foot, and then left knee directly under the hips. Give or take, doesn't need to be like super perfect. But what you really want to do is make sure that your hips are both level. So you don't want there to be a hike or some kind of twist like this or a drop. You want both of those bony hip points in the front to be completely level. Most important thing. So from here what we're going to do is place the hands behind the head, wrap your elbows in a little bit, and first movement is a big tailbone tuck. So you're going to contract your low abs, you're going to really scoop that sacrum down, kind of like a scared dog tucking its tail under. And that already might give you a nice stretch in the front of your left hip or thigh. Now if that's enough for you, you can just stay here. Otherwise, you're then going to add a little thoracic curl. So just the head, neck, and chest are going to bow forward. That is number one, going to intensify the stretch in the front of your left hip, and we'll probably add some stretch on the left side of your lower back. That's really good. That's what we're going for ideally. And that just has to do with where your psoas, your primary hip flexor, attaches on both ends. You're going to breathe into this position for a second. Make sure you're taking nice, even breaths. The better your breaths are, the more your body will get the message that it's stretching and it's okay, you can relax and all the good stuff like that. And then you're gonna untuck the pelvis, come back up to a nice neutral spine, and then we're gonna stretch out the quad a little more specifically. So bring your back foot up and then grab on. Now I'm a same hand as foot kind of guy, but if this completely screws up your balance, you can change it. It'll affect something a little bit, but don't worry, you'll be okay. I will show you when we get there. So to start, really simple quad stretch. You're going to use your arm to pull your foot as close to your butt as possible. Make sure you don't have any pain in that knee. And if you needed to put something under your knee, like a blanket or pillow, of course, that's totally okay. Now here's what might be a little bit different depending on the hand you're using. If you have same hand as foot, what you're going to do is open your body to the left and then pull it back in. So essentially what's happening is you're letting the quad relax, and then you're twisting. You're actually using your foot to pull on your arm a little bit, and that's going to create a stretch in the front of your shoulder. So we're alternating between a shoulder stretch and then quad stretch. Shoulder stretch and quad stretch. If you're doing the other arm, it's the same thing. You're just going to twist open to the right. It'll be stretching your right shoulder and then pull in. So it's really the same depending on what hand you're using. It doesn't really matter, but you're just opening and closing the stretch. And just one more. Good. From here, we're just going to put that left foot back down and switch sides. Put your right knee down, step your left foot forward. Same stretches. Ooh, if I had known the lawnmower guy was coming today and would be mowing right outside my window. Actually, not sure what I would have done, but I've at least been more prepared. So again, we're trying to get 90-degree angles in both legs. Foot and knee stacked, and then hip and knee stacked to make sure the hips are even. Start with that big tailbone tuck. Contract the low abdominals. Really scoop that sacrum underneath. Feel that stretch already. And then have your hands behind your head to help with your thoracic curl. Head, neck, and shoulders. And just breathe into it for a second. It can feel really, really intense. So just the more like calm breath that you can give yourself, the better. If you've like totally never done this before, we're kind of doing the same thing as like a runner's lunge, but actually what we're adding is that lower back element. It's all about that hip flexor first and foremost. Untuck your pelvis, bring yourself back up. Now we do the quad stretch. So pick your back foot up, grab on with either hand, but you know, if you did same hand on the first side, do same hand on the second side and vice versa. Start by just doing the quad stretch on its own. Pull that foot in as close to your butt as possible. If your balance is good enough as well, you can totally grab on with both hands. But feel free to use the free hand however you need to for balance. Alright, now we're going to add the shoulder stretch. So you're going to let your leg relax and actually use your leg to pull your arm away. Whoops. Clearly my balance is not perfect today. And then pull in. Stretch it back, open the chest, open the shoulder, and pull in. One more time. And pull. Let the foot go. And again, we're going to switch sides. Done with those stretches, now we're going to do something else from that position. Same basic concept though. Right foot is forward, knee is under your hip. Hips are level and square. So now we're going to activate the legs a little bit more. We're going to place the hands behind the head, but at any point if you need to bring them to your knee or maybe to the ground or something like that for balance, that's totally okay. You don't want to fall over here like I just did in my stretch. Very simple. You're going to tuck your back toe under and pick your left knee off the floor like 1 to 2 inches and just stay. And then we're going to hold it for about 30 seconds-ish. I swear I'm actually keeping track, but 30 seconds always feels longer than you think when you're moving or working. Again, make sure you're still keeping that alignment between that front knee and the foot. Now both legs are really equally active here. You might have a little more weight on the front. Almost there. And let the back knee rest down. Good, if you need to, you can just kind of shake it out a little bit. If you need a quick quad stretch, take it for just a few seconds. Because now we're going to do part 2. Same position, we're going to pulse it a little bit. So, same setup, tuck those back toes under. Lift your back knee 1 to 2 inches, and then gently pulse up and down. Now this pulse is definitely primarily driven by the front leg. That's where most of your weight's going to be. But the back leg is still doing some work here. It shouldn't be lax behind you. It's definitely got a job to do. Good, we're doing this as well for about 30 seconds. Doesn't need to be too exact, but we'll do our best. Again, that alignment of the front knee is super important. Keeping the hips level here is incredibly important. That way the force all translates in the right way. And you can bring it down. Good, take a little weight off the front foot if you have to. One final thing on this side, it's just gonna be more of a lunge. Same setup, hands behind the head, tuck the back toes under, but this time you're going to not only lift that back knee, but straighten it. Now that might involve doing a slight pitch forward like I just did. Being straight up here is like a little bit, I can do it, but it's like more tension in my back than I absolutely need in my life. It's like I'm gonna do a little pitch forward, because the most important thing again is that alignment in the front knee and making sure that back leg isn't totally lax, right? It's still involved, it's helping out. And we're just gonna hold this here. If you need to place your hands on your knee for support, please do so. If you need to come all the way down to the floor and just treat it more like a runner's lunge, please do so. We're almost there anyway. Yeah, not too much longer. Again, the breath is very important here. I know we're not stretching, but kind of same thing. The better your breath is, the better your body will respond to the movement. Go ahead and relax that back knee down and switch sides. Left foot front. You got the same 3 versions again. The better you set yourself up between each one, the easier it's going to be. And that's really what we want. I mean, it should feel challenging, but it shouldn't feel impossible. We want to go for efficiency. So make sure those hips are square. Knee placed over the front foot. Tuck those back toes under. And the first time we're just going to hover the back knee a couple inches off the floor. Hold it for about 30 seconds. Now the spine's really important here as well. This is definitely not a place where you want to be popping those ribs out. It's going to put more tension in your lower back than you absolutely need. So you just want to keep the spine and the pelvis as neutral and vertical as possible here. Almost there. Less than 10 seconds. Keep breathing. Tell your body it's okay. This may not be the most fun part of class today, but you'll make it through. There you go. Rest that back knee down. Take a little weight off the legs for a second if you need to. Part 2, we'll go into those pulses. Set yourself up. You know, go through your checklist each time. Vertical neutral spine, knee over the front foot, other knee underneath the hip. It's only going to help you. Hands on the head, back toes under. Lift the knee, and then really gently pulse. Good. I don't know why I always do, like I took a run earlier today. I don't know if it's because I tend to run on Wednesdays a lot and I don't realize it, or I'm just always doing more leg work on days that I run. I need to stop doing that. Then again, class is not about me. Conflicted. Almost there. Should really be feeling the burn in both legs, but definitely that front foot, and rest it down. Or sorry, that front leg. Take a little weight off. Last time we go into that lunge with the straight back leg. Do as you need with the hands or whatever you did on the first side. Set everything up, go through your checklist. Tuck the toes, lift the back knee, straighten the leg, pitch your upper body forward if you need to. But hey, if you're flexible enough and you just feel like keeping that totally neutral spine here and you can do it, go for it. My hip's just not quite there today. Almost there. Keep breathing. Keep the weight mostly on that front foot. Keep those front ribs in. And go ahead and rest that knee down. Untuck the toes. Come onto both knees. Go ahead and sit yourself down on the heels just for a second. Let the quads calm down. Because I regret to inform you, the next thing we do will also require some quad strength. Again, doing this to myself, but it's good for us. So you're gonna come back up onto the knees, but on both knees this time. So that first part was definitely strength-based. Now we're gonna get a little more into Pilates territory and do some thigh stretches, which are really just thigh work. So we're gonna start, let's go a little old school today. We're gonna do a genie arm in front. It means you stack one arm on top of the other. It doesn't matter which one. So again, the setup here is really important. In addition to that neutral spine and pelvis, you want to make sure those knees are nice and even underneath you. And that the hips again are nice and even and square to the front. Take an inhale to prep. You're going to exhale, hinge back from your knees. Now, if you can go like all the way down, good for you, but you really just want to go until you feel your core turn on, which may not be very far. Once you're there, take an inhale, make sure you can truly hold it, and then exhale, bring yourself back up. We'll go for 2 more. Exhale to go back. Inhale, just hold, make sure it's a sustainable place. And another exhale to bring you up. We'll go 1 more as is, take it back. Just go until you feel your abs turn on, and again, if you set yourself up right, there should be a moment where they just do their thing automatically. Bring it up. That's our foundation. Now we'll add some arm stuff to it. Come out of your genie, reach your arms straight in front of you. Make sure your shoulders haven't gotten away. Keep them snug in the socket. Take that exhale, hinge back. Find the same sustainable place you did a moment ago. Inhale, lift your arms up by your ears. Exhale, bring them down. 2 more, lift. And down. 1 more, lift. And down. Sneak in a little exhale so you can, another inhale so you can exhale to come up. This is too early in class for me to be confusing you. Same thing again, go back. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, arms down. Keep that breath going in and out. 1 more time, in and out. Quick inhale so you can exhale, come up. Now we'll circle the arms, exhale, hinge. Take the arms up, circle them back and around. Feel that openness in the chest. We go for another 2. And 1, once your arms are forward, just reverse, taking them down and back and up for 3. 2, 1. Bring yourself up. Good, now we'll add a little twist to it. We're almost there, I promise, if those quads are getting tired. Exhale, hinge back. Right arm only is gonna go up and back. Add a rotation in your torso. Bring it up and around. Left arm up and back, twist. And around. 1 more time on each arm, up and back. Make sure those ribs are still in line with your abdominals. Bring yourself up. Very last thing, I promise, we're just gonna reverse the arm. Exhale, hinge back. This time the arm goes down and back. Find that twist. And return left side, down and back. Return 1 more on each arm. Left arm. Good, bring yourself up. Relax the arms. You can have a seat down on your hips. Maybe give your quads a little bit of a shake. It's a little bit of quad marathon, I apologize, but it's good for you. From here, nothing to do with the quad, I promise. Just gonna sit off of your heels, swing your legs around to the front, and we're gonna start prepping for some rollbacks. So we'll have the legs right in front, parallel, so knees pointing up, and just a hip distance apart, so not much. And then from there, just sit as tall as you can on your sit bones. Now if you noticed, I popped my knees up a little bit. That's just where my hamstrings are at today, so please feel free to do that, or flex your feet, or point your feet, or whatever you gotta do to get your spine tall for the starting position. Again, let's take a nice genie arm. Maybe we'll just repeat the upper body from a moment ago. Start with a plain C curve back. You're gonna round the pelvis, round the back, and just shift about halfway to the floor. So until you feel your lower back start to touch, or just when you get to like a challenging but sustainable place. Now, just like before, take an inhale, don't move, and then use your exhale to come back up. Find that nice tall position. If it means bending the knees, bend them. And then again, take it back, around the pelvis, around the back, shift about halfway, or when you find somewhere sustainable, inhale, exhale. 1 more time, take it back. Maybe take it a little bit further before we start adding things on. Test yourself a little bit. Worst case scenario, you fall back and the floor is right there to catch you. And come up. I say we just repeat the arms from our thigh stretch. It'll be excellent here as well. So arms straight in front. Again, shoulders, don't let them get away from you. Keep them back in the socket. Start with your curve back. Find that sweet spot we just established. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, bring them back down. 2 more, lift. And lower. Keep that breath going. It's your second best friend here behind your abdominals. Sit back up. And let's do those arms 1 more time. Curve back about halfway. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, lower. Every time your arms go up, it should make your upper body feel a little heavier, and hopefully put a little quiver into your center. That quiver's good. It's a healthy quiver. And sit back up. Same arms as before. The floor might be in the way a little bit, but just negotiate the space a little. It's more about the openness of the shoulders anyway. Exhale, curve back. Now we circle the arms, take them up and back. If the floor is in your way, just skim the floor with your hands. 2 more. 1 more. Once your hands are front, just reverse those circles. Skim the floor, reach them back and up. Keep the pelvis rounded. Keep the focus down so the back of your neck is long. Sneak in that inhale so you can exhale to sit up. Now we do the single arm and twist. Exhale, take it back. Right arm goes up and over, find a rotation. And bring it back. I think it's really helpful here just to look at your hand as it moves. If you really let your eyes follow, then your spine is likely to follow. 1 more time on the left. Sneak in that inhale, exhale, sit up. Now we reverse the arms, but keep the twist. Curve back. We're gonna skim the floor with that right hand, reach it far back, up and over. Or sorry, I added a little extra to that, I apologize. Skim the floor, reach it back, and then just come back around. I got a little too excited. I guess like my dancer brain turned on for a second. I gave you like a full port de bras. 1 more time on the left. Not that that big arm wouldn't be lovely. And sit up. Good, we're gonna stay here and go into some full rollbacks. Arms will stay the same. Legs can remain as is. Only difference here is we're going all the way down now. Start with that same rounding in your pelvis, rounding in the back. So just like before, you just keep going. All the way down, 1 bone at a time, until your head is down on your mat. And then you reach the arms back, and reverse to come up. Lift your arms, lift your head, lift your shoulders, and then lift the rest of you. You're gonna go all the way this time until you stretch over your legs. Whether or not you're flexible enough to get this far, imagine you are reaching up and over your feet. From the stretch, we're gonna go right back. Pull your belly button into the space behind you so that you immediately get into that C curve. And then your abdominals will help control you softly to the floor. All the way down, reach your arms back, and then reverse your way up. Lift your arms, lift your head, shoulders, and then the rest of you. Get all the way past the feet. Enjoy that stretch for a moment and then take it all the way back. Belly button into the back space, like you were lovingly punched in the gut. Very softly punched in the gut by the spirit of Joseph Pilates. Reach the arms back, and then again, we're gonna bring it up. Arms lift, head lifts, shoulder lifts, and then the rest of you. This time, you're gonna come out of the stretch into a straight spine, sitting nice and tall over those hips again. And we'll do some neck pulls, which is like a cousin to a rollback with one difference in the beginning. So again, get nice tall over those sits bones, do what you gotta do with your knees. This time, hands are going behind your head, elbows in. So the big difference here is how you begin, which is a hinge. So don't curve, keep the back really straight, and you're just gonna lean backwards, keeping the shape of the spine as long as you can. And when you can't hold it anymore, you're gonna round the pelvis, round the back, touch one bone down at a time until you're all the way down. And then from here, try and keep your hands behind your head to roll up. Head lifts, shoulders lift. If you get a little stuck, take an inhale and then exhale. That'll give you a little more power. Still ending over the legs. Even though your hands aren't doing the reach anymore, visualize it. You're going long up and over the feet. And then restack your spine. We go 2 more times. Lean with a straight back. Hold it as long as you can, and then round down. All the way to the floor. Now, try and keep your hands behind your head, but hey, if that's absolutely not working for you today, you can reach your arms forward. If that's still not doing it, you can kind of use the backs of your legs to walk yourself up. Just make sure you end in that stretch over the legs, because it's the best part. Or at least the least arduous part. One more time, hinge back. Hold it as long as you can, and then round. Keep that control all the way to the floor. And then last time to roll up, head first. Really drop that chin down. You should almost feel a stretch in the back of your neck. Good. Now once you're over your legs, we're gonna do a little stretch interlude here. So from wherever you are, I just want you to find a spot on your legs to hold on to. And so it's whatever you can reach, right? If it's your calves, your ankles, your feet, just like whatever you can reach and hold on to, you're gonna hold on to it. I'm gonna do a little yogi toe lock because I like it. So in our stretch right now, we're rounded over, our forehead is dropped towards our knees. So what we're gonna do is use our arms to help lengthen the back. Whatever you're holding on to, you're gonna give it a little bit of a pull. And then you're gonna activate your back body, lift your head and chest, and straighten yourself out as much as possible, right? You can see my low back is not perfect here. This is really hard to get totally neutral, so it's just all about whatever the best position is that you can make. Hold it for another few seconds, and then you can go back into your rounded spine. Let the forehead drape over, relax the back. We'll do that 2 more times. Wherever you're holding on to, give it a pull. Activate your back. This is a very active stretch. It's not passive, it's not like lackadaisical. You should feel some effort as you do this. Hold it for a few moments so you can at least get a couple of breaths in. Like I mentioned before, that's part of what lets your muscles know to stretch and release and relax, is that breath. And then round your back over. Go for 1 more. Pull, activate the back body, lift your chest up, but also forward. You want to think about the chest going in 2 directions, up and in front of you. Hold it for a few seconds. Get a couple of full rounds of breath in. You're going to feel with each exhale, if you're really doing the breath justice, it's going to loosen up a little bit each time. Good, let it go, round over. And then just stack your spine back up, sit tall. All right, now we're gonna get into a little reverse tabletops. So, from where you are, just place your hands by your side and a little bit behind you. Then you are going to bring your feet in just as far as they need to be flat. So you don't want to bring them like uber close. It's going to make the next exercise a little tricky. Find a little bit of space, but you're also welcome to adjust as we move. Do what your body tells you. Fingertips, preferably facing forward, but for the sake of your shoulder, you are absolutely allowed to turn them out a little bit. I certainly will be. Now, we're going to do some articulated reverse tabletops. So the first thing you do here is tuck the tailbone. Just like we did in our opening stretch, same movement. That's going to lift your hips up a little bit already. From there, you're going to ripple through the spine, get your hips as high as you can, and as close to a straight line from your shoulders to your knees as possible. If your neck is sensitive, you can keep your focus down to your belly button, but if you can manage, try and bring your head back more in alignment with your spine. Now to go down, we articulate as well. So you're going to drop your chin first, followed by your chest, then mid-back, lower back, all the way to the floor. The second you touch the ground, go right back up, scoop that tailbone, It'll give you a little lift, and then continue the rest of the way up, rippling up the spine. Get as close as you can to a straight line from shoulder to knee, and then come down. Chin drops, chest, mid-back, lower back, all the way. We'll go up one more time, scoop the pelvis, ripple up through the back. Now, you're welcome to just hold this. Otherwise, I'll give you a couple of options to test your balance. Starting with a right leg up to tabletop. That means get your knee over your hip, hold a 90-degree angle behind your knee, and then switch. Now, as you switch your legs, you want to keep a level pelvis. So, visualize that you are balancing a bowl or a cup of a liquid of your choice on the front of your hips. And you don't want to spill whatever that thing is. It's 6 p.m., so it's a glass of wine. You don't want to stain the floors or the carpets, so keep those hip bones level and square to the ceiling. We'll go one more time with the left leg, and then we'll bring ourselves down. Chin first, then chest, then mid-back, lower back, all the way. Good. From here, same thing all over again with straight legs. If that becomes too intense for your knees, you're just going to repeat what we did just now with the feet flat and more that traditional reverse tabletop. Hands are the same, really everything is the same here, just the legs are in front of you. So we're going to start with that tailbone tuck. Engage the low abs. That's on its own is going to lift you a little bit off the floor. And then from there you continue to ripple up the back. Get your hips high, straightest line you can from your shoulders to your knees. Again, add the head into that if it's comfortable, otherwise keep your focus down. And then we lower by dropping the chin first, then the chest, mid-back, lower back, all the way to the floor. And then we go back again 2 more times. Scoop the tailbone to start, and then lift. Get yourself in alignment. Spend a second there, double check everything, and then come down. Drop the chin, chest, mid-back, lower back, pelvis. Last time you'll have the same option as before. Hold it or do the march. March will be a little bit different because it's a straight leg, but get yourself up there. And now lift one leg at a time. Don't worry as much about the height of your leg as that stability in your pelvis. Again, you're balancing something on the front of your hips. Liquid of your choice. But whatever it is, you can't spill it. We'll go one more on each leg. And then make our way down. Chin first. Chest, mid-back, lower back, all the way down. Feel free to hang yourself over your legs for a second. Doesn't have to be as specific as we did a moment ago. You can just kind of hang there for a moment. Let the lower back have some love and let the arms just like be chill and dangle. Nice. Bring yourself back up, nice neutral spine. And then I think we'll come around to the hands and knees. So you're just gonna swing your legs around. Hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Totally new orientation to gravity, finally. So, I'm going to give a slightly more specific cue for the hands than I haven't recently. Just something that I've been messing with myself. So, if you look down at your hands, you'll notice that your fingers are like a little naturally spread apart, which is great, that's how they should be. So, with that in mind, you're going to turn your hands so that your index fingers are the ones pointing directly forward. Sometimes we'll try and point our middle finger forward because it's in the middle. That kind of makes sense in the brain. But if you just turn the hands out slightly, get your index fingers forward, that's going to help externally rotate your arm, which makes for happier, healthier shoulders. We're going to start with a couple cats and cows. We'll take it really slow first so it's more of a stretch. You're going to lift your belly button up into your back and round. Take your time to get there so you can really engage your abdominals up into the ceiling to feel that stretch in your back. Don't rush it. And then go the other way. Arch your back. Take some time getting there. See if you can get a little extra stretch than you think. And now go back and forth. Now, I know I called this a stretch, and it is, but it's not a completely passive stretch. For instance, when you go into your cat, you should feel a pretty big abdominal contraction to get that tailbone under, abs up, and that will really lengthen the back. And vice versa. When you get into your cow, you may even want to activate your back body a little bit. Keep it in like a comfortable range, but if you use the muscles in your back a little, it'll stretch your abs out even a little better. Let's just go like one more of each. You can mess with that. And then just bring yourself to a neutral spine. So, whatever liquid you were balancing on the front of your pelvis a second ago, it is now on your lower back. Same deal, whatever it is, it'll stain, I don't know, but you can't spill it. Now we're gonna test that balance a little bit by messing around with our limbs, starting very simply by reaching the right hand forward and then putting it down. And then the left hand forward and put it down. Now the right leg's gonna go back. Tuck your toes under. If you want, go ahead and lift that leg up. And bring it down. And then the left leg's gonna go back, toes under. But if you want, lift the whole leg up. And down. And we'll cycle through the limbs 2 more times. Right arm goes forward. Don't shift to the left. Left arm goes forward. Don't shift to the right. Now right leg goes back and maybe up. Don't arch your lower back to do this. Comes from your glute and hamstring. And then left leg back and maybe up. One more time through the limbs. Right hand goes forward, don't shift to the left. Left hand goes forward, don't shift to the right. Right leg goes back, don't use your lumbar, use your glute and your hamstring, aka your butt and the back of your thigh. Left leg, same thing. And now we just start putting things together. Right hand forward, left leg back and maybe up. Bring it back down. Left arm forward, right leg back and maybe up. And bring it down. A couple more times on each side. Remember, you're still balancing something on your lower back. So it's really tempting here to just like shift or twist or do, frankly, some kind of funky weirdness there to try and balance yourself. But you gotta keep your trunk totally still. We'll do one more time on the left arm / right leg. Now you're gonna keep that right leg out. Just bring your left hand down. We'll do some stuff with that right leg for a moment. Starting with a couple hamstring curls. So you're gonna bring your heel as close to your butt as you can and then lengthen the leg back out. Again, don't use the back to do this. You wanna keep your spine neutral and use the back of your thigh. Now on your next curl, keep that heel in, keep the back of the thigh tight, and you're just gonna turn that knee out to the side. It's like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. I'm sure you've all heard that image before. It has survived forever because it works. We've all seen a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. We'll go for one more. We're gonna keep the knee out this time. So now you should feel the side of your hip really working as well. And now you're gonna bring that right knee up to your right elbow as close as possible, and then back again. Knee to elbow, and back again. 2 more, knee to elbow, and back. Now keep the knee forward, stretch that right leg out, try and keep it hovering off the floor, and we're gonna pulse that foot up to the ceiling 10 times for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest your right foot down. A little transition here. We're gonna walk the hands back, and then we're gonna come to another standing kneeling position. Now, You just saw me move my right foot forward. That is available to you as well. My hip started to cramp. So I had to bring the foot forward. What's really important is that you are directly over your left knee. Right leg, like I said, can be a little forward. Like our opening stretches, it's really important here that you get your hips as even as possible. Yeah, the right one's gonna wanna hike and it may not even be perfect today, but do the best you can. Now we're gonna do a couple of hinges forward. Let's start with the hands behind the head, elbows in. You're gonna take a flat back forward, shoot your butt back and your head forward at the same time so you stay nice and flat. And then come back up. As you go forward, you should get a nice stretch in your right leg and your right hip. And then when you come up, you're gonna feel your back work a little bit, and you should definitely feel your left glute help bring you up. Let's go over one more time with the hands behind the head. Now all we're gonna do is extend the arms up to the ceiling to add a little extra lever load. Same thing, flat back forward. Your body's just gonna feel a little bit heavier, and then bring it up. Going forward, remember, head one way, tailbone the other. One more time. Make sure it's really that left glute that's bringing you back up. Now to get out of this, you do one final hinge forward, put your hands on the ground, and then all you gotta do is sneak your right knee back in, and we have a whole other side to do. So reach that left leg back, lift it up, and start your hamstring curls. Bring your heel as close to your butt as possible, and then lengthen. Heel to butt, and lengthen. Let's go for two more. As we're doing all this hands and knees stuff, keep checking in with your ribs. Gonna keep that heel in now and start to turn the knee out. So like I was saying, you're gonna wanna really check in with those ribs. As you move your leg, it's easy to forget about them, and you might start to come into this kind of position with the ribs dropping down to the floor. That is not good for your back at all. So keep floating your ribs up to the ceiling. I'm like thinking ribs but moving my knee. Now keep your knee out to the side. Draw your knee as close to your elbow as possible and then send it back. Knee to elbow, send it back. We'll go for two more. Last one, keep the knee forward, lengthen your left leg to the side, keep it hovering off the floor, pulse the leg upward for 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the foot come down. Use your hands to walk yourself back. Stand up on that right knee. Adjust your left leg as needed. Again, with like doing this stuff on running days. Whew! I swear my hip is usually so much better than that. Get those hips nice and even as much as possible. Get yourself directly over that right knee. Place your hands behind your head. And then start to hinge forward. And like most one-sided things, one side's gonna feel different than the other. On the first side, like I got a nice stretch in my right hip, but on this side, it's like all on my inner thigh. That's just always kind of an asymmetry I've had. And my left inner thigh is super tight. You'll see I'm not even going as low on this side. I can't. It's because of that muscle. Now we'll lengthen the arms up. Increase the lever load, same motion. Head in one direction, tail out in the other. Make sure that right glute is really what's bringing you up here. One more time. Good, and then we do a final hinge forward just so you can put your hands back on the ground and then sneak that left knee back in. Real quick, if you have to, we're gonna give a quick stretch for the wrists. We're about to go into some planking and variations of, so just make sure the wrists are nice and happy and comfy. If you need to completely come off of them for a second and give them like a full shake, you got like 10 seconds to do what you gotta do. But as soon as you are ready, come back onto your hands and knees, and then crawl yourself forward a little bit so you have available space behind you. But the position is the same. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Remember that weird hand thing I told you? Natural spread in the fingers, and then point the index fingers directly forward. Make sure the upper back is a little bit rounded and supported, and that the low back is totally flat, and we are back to balancing something there. Now we're gonna tuck the back toes under. We're just gonna hover the knees 1 to 2 inches off the floor. Keep everything else the same. Nothing changes in your back or your arms. All it's gonna do is put extra load on your hands and really force your abdominals to do some work. This is another moment where it's really tempting to forget about the ribs and let them drop down. Again, no good for your back. Keep pushing those bottom ribs up to the ceiling. And that'll help keep the lower back steady as well. Float the knees down. Rock a little weight off the hands if you need to. Come back forward. And now we're going to repeat some of our previous exercises with the knees up off the ground. If that becomes too intense at any point, just put the knees down. It'll be a repeat, but it's a good repeat. It's all good for the body. Tuck those back toes under. Lift the knees up. Now, I'm going to say don't shift on this, but it might be a little impossible, so instead I'll say limit your shifting as much as you can. Reach your right hand forward. Shift to the left as little as possible. Left hand forward, shift to the right as little as possible. Now right leg back, you're welcome to keep the toes down or lift that leg up, see what happens. Left leg back, maybe lift it up. And we'll go through the limbs again. Right hand forward, shift as little as possible. Left hand. Right leg goes back, maybe it lifts up, but don't overarch your lower back to do it. Comes from the hip. We'll go one more time through the limbs. Reach the right hand forward, try not to shift. It'll probably happen. And left arm. We are certainly in a place where maybe perfection is not what we're trying to achieve, but just stability. Just not falling over. Not falling over is like really hard in a lot of exercises. It's kind of the best goal. Go ahead and let the knees rest down for a second. Take some weight off your hands if you need to. I always think the best exercises in the world are where your primary goal is like to just not fall. Do this thing. Don't fall on the ground. And you'll be doing it right. All right, now let's have a little bit of fun. See if we can go through some of those same leg variations. Same setup. Tuck those back toes under. Hover the knees. This will be real fun. Send the right leg back. Maybe lift it up. Hamstring curls. We'll just go for 4. And 3. 2. Keep it in. Rotate the knee out for 4. And 3. 2. Keep the knee out, bring it in towards your elbow for 4. 3. 2. Keep it forward, lengthen your leg, try and hover it off the floor, pulse the leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back down. We are not going to try and do that hinge scenario with the knees up. I'm almost certain that'd be impossible, but there's probably somebody out there who can do it. Give the wrists a little break as they need. Counter stretch them. Load and unload. Maybe little circles. And we'll do the other side. It'll be over in just a second. Neutral spine. Tuck the back toes under. Lift the knees. Left leg goes back. Lift it up. Curl the heel in for 4. 3. 2. 1, turn the knee out for 4. 3. 2. Keep the knee out, bring it forward for 4. 3. 2. Leave it there. Here's the fun part. Lengthen your leg, keep it up. Pulse 10, 9, 8, 7. 3, 2, 1. Bring it back down. Again, take a little weight off the hands. Regardless of if you did that with the knees up or down, or you did part of it with the knees up and then lowered them, you win. It doesn't matter, you win. Your hip wins. Nice. Let's finish up with a little bit of planking, a little bit of stretching, and I'll send you off. Come back onto the hands and knees. Same setup, but don't worry, not the same thing. You're gonna tuck the toes under, lift the knees, but then immediately step the legs back, find your plank. And remember that your plank is the same thing as your hands and knees, just with your legs extended, so don't change anything about what your spine or your arms or your hips are doing. Now from here, we're gonna go into inchworms. Send the hips up and back. You're gonna hit a downward facing dog for a half a second, and then walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees whenever you have to. Roll your spine all the way up, or just whenever you want to. And then once you're up, go right back down, drop the chin. Do what you gotta do with your knees to get your hands all the way on the floor, and then walk it back out to your plank. Same thing again, send the hips up and back. Hit that down dog for a half second, and then walk your hands back. Do what you gotta do with your knees. Just make sure that they're aligned with your feet. And once you're up, go right back down. Get your hands on the floor, walk it out. One more time, hips up and back. Now, as you walk back to the feet, keep that sensation of reaching your heels down. That way you can really milk the hamstring stretch as long as possible. And then bring it down. Once we're back out in the plank, we're going to do the reverse, which means we will bring our feet to our hands. Take small steps. Send your hips further up the closer your feet are. And again, bend your feet when you have to. Bend your knees when you have to. See, now it's an appropriate time for me to be confusing you. We're almost done with class. Roll all the way up. And then once you're up, go right back down. Get your hands on the floor, bent knees if you need to. Small steps back. It's very tempting to shoot the legs back immediately, but I want you to milk it a little bit, just so you can be checking in with your alignment as you go. And then bring it back. Small steps in. Send the hips high. Also, the closer your feet come, the more you need to drop your head down. I know sometimes it feels a little scary and unbalanced because our eyes always want to be like totally level. But if you try and keep looking forward or even too close to the ground, you're going to start getting some really unpleasant and unnecessary neck tension. One more time, bring your feet to your hands. Make sure that head is dropping down. The closer your feet come. And then bring it down. Now, once you're back out in your plank, we've got enough time to talk about some push-ups. So, if you remember, I said, your plank is the same as being on your hands and knees, and your push-up is kind of the same as your plank as far as your torso and your legs are concerned. So, bring your knees down if you need to. That's totally fine. But when you start doing your push-up, we're going to bring the elbows straight back into the waist. Now, I don't care how far down you go, how much your arms bend. What I do care about is that you keep that shape in your spine, in your pelvis, and in your legs. Let's go for 2 more to start. Bend the elbows back only as far as you can while maintaining that placement. 1 more. And then we'll take an inchworm in between. Send the hips up and back. We'll do hands to feet because then you get that nice calf stretch as you go. Soften the knees, roll up. We're doing more push-ups when you get out there, so enjoy this moment to articulate through your spine and to let the arms be relaxed, because as soon as you get out there, we're going to do 3 more push-ups. Remember, the upper body, the head, the spine, the pelvis all stays the same. All you're doing is bending and straightening your arms. And hopefully breathing. We'll take another inchworm. Reach those heels down to the floor as you go. Feel that stretch all the way up the backs of your legs or into your hips or lower back. It's all great, just depends on where your tightness is. Drop the head, go back down. We'll do one more set. Just 3. Because the perfect push-up is really hard. Keep those shoulder blades wide on your back. That's what makes it really tricky. It's super easy, right, to like pinch the shoulder blades together. And sometimes a push-up is taught like that. There's nothing wrong with it. But maybe try keeping your shoulder blades wide. It's a little extra challenge. One more. Now send your hips up and back, but don't walk the hands back yet. We're gonna take this way slower for our last minute or so. We're just gonna milk this. So stay in that down dog position. Get the tailbone to point up to the ceiling best you can. Soften the knees a little bit if you need to. Feel free to just hang here, find some stillness, or you can pedal through the feet a little bit. Maybe get like a full articulation through the foot. As some yoga teachers would say, this is taking your dog for a walk. Kind of like that. I think it's cute. Good image. Now we'll walk the hands back to the feet. Take it slow so you can really enjoy the stretch as you go. Once you get to your forward hang, just stay there. Again, you can soften your knees if you need to, or just want to. Never think that a modification lessens something necessarily. The word modification sometimes gets this negative connotation attached to it. But like, for instance, I can certainly hang here with locked out knees, but I get so much more benefit if I just soften them a little bit. Takes pressure off the knees. I still get a really awesome stretch up the backs of the legs. Feel free to grab opposite elbows and let yourself dangle. And as well, you can pedal through the knees here. Just going side to side. Or maybe you do both knees together. Just bend both knees, you'll get your chest a little closer to your legs, and then when you straighten them, see if you can keep that closer distance, that tighter space. And just keep hanging there for another couple seconds. Maybe you're like me and that fascia in the back body is a little tight, so I get a little tingle in the bottom of my feet. That's totally fine. Numbness is a different story. We don't want numbness, but a little light tingle is okay. And then we'll soften the knees if they aren't already. And very slowly work your way back up. And really, I mean, I know we're not all like anatomy professors, but you've seen a spine at some point. Really visualize each of those bones, stacking one on top of the other until you are all the way up to the tallest position of your life. And just stand there for a second. And hopefully you feel a little taller or longer or stronger or just otherwise better than you did 58 minutes ago. Relax, you're done. Awesome class, thank you so much for your work. I will see you same time, same place next week. Enjoy the rest of your week and weekend. Bye.